Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And today's video actually arrives to us in the midst of pure frustration and pure anger from the Rangers fan base, which is actually the first time this season we've made a video that frustration and anger has been aimed directly at the players. The players are actually doing their jobs right now. It's the officials that are back to Dundee and theirs, and dinna worry, we're obviously going to have to go ahead and speak about that, and we will break it down during the Rangers side. But do you know there is a game of football featuring our football team less than 24 hours away? Aye, nobody is talking about it. And look, I understand why, the massive decision, the blown VAR call that we will break down, but at the same time, as we like to discuss everything right here in today's video, so if you stay with me over the next 12 to 15 minutes, we're going to be talking about this upcoming game and obviously the massive decision, the wrong decision, and just what that means, what we can do, what we can't do, and where we go through there. So it's going to be a very, very packed episode with a lot of spice, so let's go ahead and get into it then, shall we? And as always, if you don't mind hitting that like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. And a wee shout out to everyone as well. We have now reached over 65,000 subscribers, which is just a ridiculous number to actually try and to put into the brain, but I do appreciate everyone who has recently subscribed to the channel and the channel legends that's built the foundations of this channel, built it up whilst I was still fumbling about in the dark, not sure what to do with this channel or how to make videos. You guys stuck with me and helped build the channel to where we are now at 65k, so thank you all so much for your support and subscribing to the old channel. But I'll go ahead and try and give you the content that you're actually subscribed for then, shall we? And as always, we'll start off by looking at tomorrow's dance partner in terms of Dundee, who at my current time of recording is at 7th in the old league. And you know, it's probably ironic that we play Dundee when we're actually playing them, you know what I mean? Because we are all consumed by the VAR call that we didn't get in the controversy. Everyone's talking about that League Cup final whilst we play a game tomorrow versus a side that we last played in that same competition as we beat them 3-0 a couple months ago, as Dessers scored a dirty double and Tavernier scored a penalty. It's painful and ironic. However, in terms of a Dundee perspective, I think it's fair to say they never quite recovered from receiving a dirty double from big Cyril Dessers, as the Dessers experience clearly affected them over the next couple of games as they went on to lose 4 of their next 5 matches in all competitions after getting beat by us. Now, one of them was against Aberdeen, the game directly after us, who at that time, to be fair to them, were beating everyone as they were on a fantastic run. But the next game after that Aberdeen pounding was actually a game we're going to speak about in a bit more detail, because it's arguably one of the games of the season, and it's maybe a game of what ifs for this Dundee fan base, because Dundee, despite being down to 10 men from the 43rd minute of the game, was winning 2-0 versus Kilmarnock right to the 85th minute, where you just need to battle down the hatches, stay in there, get in the trenches, protect Helm's Deep. But they conceded, and you know where I'm going with this one, not only 2 goals to turn that 3 points into 1, they also went ahead and conceded the punch in the throat style goal of a 94th minute loser. Troops, you know what I mean? No a winner, a loser, as Kilmarnock bagged in the 94th minute to take that now 1 point into 0, and that sort of summarised what this Dundee side has brought this season and what they've lacked. They've lacked really maybe a game manager in the middle of the park. Now, I know they were doing it to 10 men and everything like that, but just see the game out there, and even if you do concede the whirlwind of 2 goals, just get across the line, get over the 1 goal, and I think that is one of the main reasons and one of the main indicators of what they're lacking this season to previous years, especially when we spoke highly of them last year and a lot of their good stuff, but a lot of that good stuff was on the back of Luke McCowan in the middle of the park, who's of course now left. Dundee losing their skipper, losing a personality, losing a player like that is always going to affect you. And I sat and I looked again for today's video, and I just looked at the way their games were unfolding and the way we were throwing away points and the way they were throwing away games. I think clearly they're just a little bit leaderless in terms of that aspect, especially just getting over the line, and that bleeds into a lot of the games that we're actually looking at. These 4 losses, these 5 losses here, the other losses we're going to speak about, I think they're just missing what arguably was their best player. But Dundee did go ahead to stop the bleeding and eventually and stop that horrendous losing run as they got a narrow 1-0 win versus Motherwell, as Lyle Cameron provided the difference maker on that day. And I think if you ask the entire Dundee fan base, all 7 of them would look you directly in the eyes and say, you know what, he's probably the best we've got right now. And it is ironic, right, because Luke McCowan was previously their best, in my opinion. He's went to Celtic, and Lyle Cameron, who I would argue is their best right now is linked potentially of joining Rangers either in January or at the end of the season for free as his contract's out. And I think if you take that little man out the middle of the park, they've already been negatively affected by losing Luke. If they then lose Lyle, you could be a real worry for Dundee fans going forward, if I'm being honest, because the wee man is one of their bright performers and one of the main reasons they're even in some of these games. So it'll be interesting to see if he does remain there at the end of January or if he's another shot, possibly even ours, as he's been very, very impressive. And it's almost a no-brainer type signing that Walter would have had signed off a couple months ago. But moving away from that narrow 1-0 win versus Motherwell, did that spark them into life? No, really, as again they lost another coin flip style game versus St Johnstone. Maybe the 50-50 games they were either winning or getting draws in last season during their very impressive campaign, they go ahead to lose it. However, I would argue their performance at Parkhead, despite losing 2-0 in the game, was one of their better performances over the last couple months, as it took Celtic into the second half, around about the 60th minute, to finally break the deadlock. They then got another penalty kick as well to really wrap up the game. But aye, Dundee were in the game, they created clear opportunities and they really stepped up to that. So that's a little bit of a worry to see how they performed the last time they played one at the Old Firm side. You know what I mean? I'd preferred it to be the 3-0 win that we had versus them, but they showed a bit of fight and showed a wee bit of something on that day. However, again, it didn't really spark them to go anywhere. Apart from playing Kilmarnock, of course, because we mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're reverting back to discussing Killie. Well, we're not done quite yet, because Dundee Kilmarnock faced off once again and it finished 3-2 yet again, with another 94th minute winner for one of the sides. But this time it was Dundee on the right side of that luck, as they revenged their loss truly in the most perfect way possible, as the sides were even 93rd and a half minute on the clock before Dundee bagged what Kilmarnock bagged a couple of weeks ago, and they snatched the 3 points, which must have felt good for the players and been one of the tight ones as they hit them with the old Uno reverse, if you get me. But that was a 3-2 scoreline mentioned twice in the last couple minutes. Well, over the next 60 seconds, we're going to mention not one, not two, but 3 4-1s. That's how weird this team actually is this season, because after winning 3-2 versus Kilmarnock, how did they follow that phenomenal win up? They got scanted 4-1 versus Aberdeen. How did they respond for that? They won 4-1 versus Hibernian. They then played Kilmarnock for the third time in less than 2 months, which probably highlights how badly this league needs fresh clubs injected into it and increased it, because you're playing the same teams every 3 weeks at some point. Do you know what I mean? Hold your breath. Dundee's just played Kilmarnock again in that actual timeline, but this time, unlike a 3-2 scoreline, it did go ahead and finish 1-1 on that one, which is probably a perfect scorecard, because I've got 1 win, 1 loss and 1 draw on that aspect. But again, coin flip time. Dundee then responded to that game versus Kilmarnock with another 4-1, but this time it was in their favour, as they then scanted Motherwell 4-1 before their most recent game of football was a 2-0 loss to Hearts. I'm knackered talking about this team. It's mental, because it's been 11 games since we last faced them. They've got 6 losses, 4 wins and 1 draw on the card, and they've been pretty much playing the exact same teams every 3.5 minutes, so it's hard to break down and it's hard to really look at. But again, for me, the biggest difference maker is they've not really got themselves that sealer, you know what I mean? Cameron's doing his best, he's a very talented player. You've got the likes of Simon Murray, who's a dangerous runner, and he seems to always have good games against us. You know he's going to run his pan in tomorrow. There is good players in there, but they're just missing a missing ingredient in there that's really saw them over the line and made them a wee bit dangerous. But the only thing you would say, ladies and gentlemen, despite how erratic they've been, they've seemed to respond to each and every big loss. You know what I mean? Every time they get embarrassed 4-1, they bring it back to that. So their goal difference in that's a hell of a lot better than it was at this point last season. So despite the points not being there in terms of the wins, they're keeping it narrow, and at least they're avenging their losses each and every single time they play a team, which is pretty scary considering we just played them and beat them 3-0. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. But that's the tail of the tape at Dundee. They're maybe missing the game manager to get them over the line in these games that is making them lose these coin flips. But again, on any given day, as you've already seen, they can be very, very dangerous, and when it clicks they can be a real pain in the arse. Which Dundee side are we facing, Maura? I have absolutely no idea, and I'd argue neither does the manager. Well, with that being said, that's reached the end of the Dundee side, so let's get to the Rangers side then, shall we? And all that fun and maybe the distraction of speaking about someone else slowly starts to dissipate as we need to return back to the Rangers side, which does start to spark you up, that does start to frustrate you. But again, like I said right at the very intro, we've sat here on preview videos, hell, even the last time we spoke about Dundee, frustrated at the team, pissed off at the manager, disgusted right here. But none of that frustration, none of that anger is directed at the players or the manager. It's again at the officials, because the players done their jobs, the manager done his job. The only ones know to do their job was the guy sitting in an office with all the technology geared towards helping them do their job. They've got it all in their favour. They just simply refuse to do it. And look, I've been doing this a very, very long time, you know what I mean? I know how this goes. No matter what I say here, it's going to be up on some random Twitter account and their mad, obsessed echo chamber just feasting off it like a bunch of vultures. And again, that's never bothered me, you know what I mean? It's just a way and part and parcel of social media. And if you ever get into the game, you've got to learn to accept it. But I know I'm not speaking to them right now, you know what I mean? Because they hate Rangers more than they like their own team, and they just need that obsession and they need that hatred. So I didn't focus on that. Who I'm actually speaking to right now in terms of the video is the 90% of people that tune in to these videos, right? No matter what team you like or who you support or where you're actually from. Normally right here on the channel we have a very honest footballing conversation, whether it goes for us or against us. And ladies and gentlemen, clearly this one went against us, and I think a lot of people would actually agree that Rangers should have had a penalty in the cup final, you know what I mean? Every single referee that's now looked at the incident has came out and said, yeah, it's a penalty. We've had an interview with the head of refereeing in this country, who is Willie Collum, and I will speak about that in a minute or two, come in and sort of just throw these referees and everything like under the bus, and he doesn't understand why it's given. They've rushed the decision, etc, etc, etc. And see hearing all this stuff, people saying, oh, it's good, come out and say it and everything. It doesn't change anything, you know what I mean? And I'm sick to death of being the team that continually are on the wrong side of these decisions. And this isn't me moonhowling or me losing my mind or wrapping a tin hat. That's me just looking at the facts and the evidence, because you can say Rangers were just unlucky in the final. Rangers were just unlucky right there. It's human error, human error. Well, human error continually seems to only affect one team, or it leads it, because as Phil said in his presser, statistically we are a side that are continually on the end of these wrong VAR decisions. And if you actually pay attention to that, and if you go into every monthly review or every quarterly review of it, there is one side that quite clearly has more decisions wrongly given against them from VAR, and it's us each and every single time. That's us not being mental. That's no us being mad. Facts didn't care about your mad obsessed feelings. That is how it actually goes. I don't know why we are continually given. Is it cheating? Is it bias? Are they feeling the pressure because of the media pile up and everything that gets put in types of these games, so the pressure builds the level they didn't want to be a party, they didn't want to make the big decision? Or are they simply not good enough to handle these types of roles and these types of responsibility? It's all there for you. I didn't have the definitive answer. All I am is sitting here as a Rangers fan, pissed off and fed up that yet again we need to talk about another close game that VAR has failed this club. And it's painful, because VAR as a technology is there to give you every single advantage on the boot, you know what I mean? They have got the opportunity to stop the game, look at their 400 monitors in front of them, check this, check that, zoom in on that, pause that, enhance that light they're in, frickin' Blade Runner. They've got every advantage that a John beating on the park doesn't have, the linesman doesn't have in the fourth official, right? And they're not good enough either, right? But see this cheating, beating on, beating again, and beating had nothing to do with it. If you actually listen to the VAR decision, he's asked the guys who have every advantage under their thumbs right in front of them, it's able to stop a game and go, wait a minute John, we're just going to check that, we'll check this if it's a penalty. They've got that in them. They do it enough for every goal that's scored. We as football fans love goals. That is what we are here to see. But they'll sit 3 and 4 minutes zooming in to see if someone's t-shirt level or someone's tippity tiptoe is slightly offside. They're fine with stopping games for that. Painstakingly detailed, ruining and robbing what football actually is. But they can't do, wait a minute John, let's check a penalty. An extra time of a cup final is worth more than a 10-second runaway clip saying it's more outside and then telling them to move on. Even that statement itself, it's more outside, that means some of it is in, and by the letter of the law, if any of it is in, it's a penalty. So why the hell was a penalty no given? It's not the first time this guy Frank's been involved in a major decision that's been wrong versus Rangers Celtic, and it will only be his last, as he continually shows that he is not good enough and he can't handle the responsibility and the pressure of being in this role. So I didn't need Willie Collum coming out here and being like, oh, they should have done this, they didn't understand why they never... You never done it either when you were on the park either, Willie, by the way. You were a dreadful referee, but that shows you the standards. When Willie Collum's sitting just roasting his own VAR team, talking about they're no good enough and I've no done this and I've no done this and I've no done that, when he's thrown his own referees under the bus, it shows you the level that's actually there, how poor this has actually been run. Not once did it get actually checked. They just tell them to run on, and they use that line, it's more outside. They've clearly not understood the laws of the game. They don't know the laws of football and the rules of football, and it's been shown in that incident, highlighted to everyone. But aye, they'll come out and do the old golden handshakes and be like, oh, sorry about that, we got that one wrong, it's human error, our bad, we'll get it right next time. Well, they didn't seemingly get it right next time, because again, every single VAR review, have a look which team statistically is on the end of more wrong decisions from VAR that should have went another way. It's us, ladies and gentlemen. It's no paranoia, it's no madness, it's facts. And again, facts don't care about folks' feelings. So I am frustrated and I do feel robbed, and I'm right to do that, because clearly we have been, and everyone's actually proved that the VAR audio's out there, the clips now out there, Willie Collum's interview apologising for it, every referee that's had their say on it has confirmed it should have been a penalty. But do you know what's mental? All that evidence, just people saying, aye, but what about Kyogo's yellow card? They can't do nothing for yellow cards. We can't do it for yous. You know what I mean? Read the laws. Read the rules. They can't check yellow cards for VAR. And this mad stuff, this whataboutery. 40 years ago we should have had this. Aye, well, VAR wasn't there 40 years ago. We can't do anything for you. All we can do is reflect on what's actually happened. So the whataboutery gets flung out the window, because we can even, if we want to start getting into that bitter mindset, we can ask why Kuhn was allowed to trip up Diomande to put the ball in the back of net, whilst we had a goal last year for Dessers get chopped off because Lawrence collided with Callum McGregor 50 yards away and over 44 seconds away before the ball was put in the back of net. You know what I mean? One's directly involved the goal scorer and one's off the park in the middle, in the middle of the park. We can really be nitpicky and bitter if we want to do that, but I didn't want to get involved in that. I just want to pay attention to the decision that should have been given on the day, and that was a penalty. And these referees that are in charge of VAR on that day have shown that they are not good enough again. It's another massive blunder from a team led by Frank, and for me it highlights what should happen next. They should never be involved in an annoying. That's it. They just can't handle it. How many times are they allowed to fail and be wrong before eventually they get punished? We can't replay the game. We can't get our cup back. We can't do any of this. And I'm not even guaranteeing we score it, by the way, because you just never know with cup finals. But I like my chances with having your spot kick actual ratio, especially when he took it in the penalty shoot. We can't get the game back. We can't do anything for it. But at the same time as we can make sure these incidents are trying to limit in the future. And that means getting these guys gone. No allowing them near the booth, as they've shown continually they are not good enough. Whether it's getting referees for different countries, bringing them up for here, doing what Turkey do. Every time there's Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, they go and get referees for different countries just to referee it. And might need to go down that road, because one, Scots officials have shown they're not good enough. They continually get it wrong. And two, there's always this massive conspiracy for both sides. Oh, this referee's cheating. It's the exact same. Cheating, beating. It's error and error and error and error and error again. And they just go round and round. So maybe just getting fresh ideas into there and letting it play out will stop all this pandemonium around referees, and maybe they'll feel less pressure when they're not hearing they're cheating every single day of their lives. But aye, it's ugly, it's distasteful, but again, nothing can be done. All that can be done now from a Rangers perspective is we didn't let that failure of a referee define our entire season. We've actually got to come out and put something into place now and use it to piss off and motivate our players. We didn't get the trophy back, we didn't get an opportunity to do that, but we get an opportunity to right some wrongs, rest, and that starts the more, but it goes into January the 2nd as well. Would I be drilling into these players? Do you see what happens? You give everything, you do everything right, but you get screwed due to a referee decision there. Take it away for the officials, then allow it to get to that level, just use it to motivate. But again, that starts tomorrow. Either we'll come out firing pissed off and angry and show we've got a wee bit of sun, or if we limp into this game feeling sorry for ourselves, it will summarise how we've been the majority of the season. But it does feel like a bit of a switch style, and it can go either way. I just hope we use it for motivation rather than an excuse why this season's no went well or why we never won a cup. Yeah, we didn't win it, we didn't get the decision, it's gone now, ladies and gentlemen. What are we going to do with that frustration? What are we going to do with that anger? Are we going to let it define us, or are we going to use it to do something better? I hope it's the latter. That's what I hope, that's what I want to see, and that's what I want to be discussing on Saturday evening as we sit with a smile on our face, hopefully talking about a win. And I'm coming out big here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going Rangers 4, Dundee 1. Seems to be everywhere, you know what I mean? 4-1 all the time for Dundee. I'm coming out there, Eggman, to score a couple, and I wouldn't be surprised if Danny starts to really impact games and starts tucking these chances away. But that's my thoughts and opinions on the official VAR call that's going to dominate the news, and that's my mindset on what we need to do now. There's nothing we can do about what's happened in the past. All we can try and do is use it to motivate us to go forward, and that's the way it's going to be, and that starts with tomorrow. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. And I almost forgot today the old starting 11 now. Again, I'm not quite used to it yet. I don't really know how the fitness is regarding the players right now. Again, I'm recording this slightly earlier, so I will update it down in the comment section below. But I think ending the game, or starting this game with how it probably ended, might be on the cards right there, because we don't know how Leon Balogun actually is. But obviously it's Butland. I'd go with Tavernier, because I think Sterling might be needed for centre-back position, either starting the game of football or maybe coming on the bench if Leon can give you half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it may be. So we asterisks there with Balogun / Sterling. Robin, who I thought was really good. I'd start Jeff again. In the middle of the park would be Raskin, Diamande. I'd keep that attacking mindset. I want to keep them pushed in there. The big call's who you play at the 10, because Hadji was good out on the left versus Celtic, but Barami put one of his best performances in, and maybe the selfless side. But do we need the defensive style? We need more confidence. For me, I'm putting Danny in there every day of the week. Sorry Hadji, sorry Barami, I love this two striking position, so I put Danny in there beside Eggman in the centre, and out on the left I would have either Barami or Hadji, and on the right hand side Cherny. That's the way I'd go with it. I just want to keep this attacking mental. I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't want to overthink it. I didn't want to feel sorry, because Dethers, it's got a lot of people talk negatively about him. Let's start him. And I'm not wanting any of that. I want a Rangers team to think of the team, not these players' egos. And that's all I've got to say. But until next time, I've been CJ2. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye.